I'll tell you the only difficulty we had on a couple occasions. There was one sketch he thought was terribly funny for us to do in Vegas in the act. And I said, first of all, I don't think it's funny. And second, I wouldn't know what to do with it, so get somebody else. And he practically insisted we were going to do it. So I called Harry Crane. Do you know who Harry Crane? Harry Crane is the man who created The Honeymooners. He wrote the last of the Thin Man series, which I was the ingenue in with William Powell and Myrna Loy. Great comedy writer. He died a couple of years ago. And his granddaughters, Melissa Gilbert and Sarah Gilbert, dear close friend. And I called him and I told him what the problem was and could he come for dinner. And then I said, without, me planning, I'll ask us to do it for you. And we did. And he said, Steve, they'll come up and get you. She's right. And I think with Steve, the reason that he wasn't so harsh on things as I am is that he never failed because he could ad-lib. But I never go out of the lines. I'm like I rehearse it, I know the lines, and I do what the author wrote because I can't do anything else. But with Steve, you never had to worry. When Audrey and I worked with Steve, we never had to worry about failure because we would hear a big laugh behind us and think, what happened? And he's just said something back there, sotto voce, but the audience heard it. And we didn't because we were so consecrated. Well, you get used to it or kill yourself. And when we did Cinderella at the Pantages, he was forever doing that. And I really, now that he's not here, that I can apologize to him, I finally had to go to the stage manager because you do. You don't argue in a play on Broadway. You don't start problems by arguing with your leading man. You go to the stage manager and say, if he does that once more, I'm either going to whack him or whack you, And I said, Steve's got to stop the ad-libbing. Because here I was singing and doing a musical, and it was Steve who wanted to do the musical. And he was right to want to do it, but it wasn't I who chose it. And he chose it, and as a result, the play had never been successful. Did you know that? Well, Edie Adams brought a critic opening night, and she told me she did it originally with Julie Andrews, and the reviews were, so wonder they ever went on with their careers. They were so terrible, the reviews. And she said that years later, when, I've forgotten the name of the actress who years later did it on television, the reviews were even worse, and Julie Andrews called
Leslie Ann Warren, are you thinking?
Leslie Ann Warren. She called Edie Adams on the phone and said, have you read the reviews? Read them, it'll make you feel better. So when Edie came to see our version, she came thinking, what in the world are they going to do with this, turkey? Well, what Steve did was he wrote to the estate, because Hammerstein and Rogers were both dead. And he said, I'd like to work on this and do a little rewriting. He said, your first biggest mistake is your best song in it is a ballet, which was true. Well, they hired him, and he did a production that they still talk about in Houston. I went to see it. It was brilliant. I mean, absolutely brilliant.